This week on FIFA Football Mundial, we travel to Guyana for the most important match in their history. In June and dropped to 4th and 6th, respectively. There were plenty of World Cup qualifiers in Africa in June, with Burkina Faso winning 4 matches out of 4 and rising 47 places to 64th as a result. The Caribbean staged a number of important matches as well. Among those nations looking for improvement was Guyana, who currently stand at 1-2-2. The association was founded way back in 1902, but in all that time, Guyana's Golden Jaguars had never left much of an impression. But things are stirring in the former British colony on South America's Caribbean shore. Where cricket was once king, football is now stirring national pride. Their coach is Jamal Shabazz.
This is a historic moment for Guyana, not just in sport, but, as a society, because the stadium represents cricket, and the government has made an important statement here by allowing to train on the ground, which would have been sacrilegious 3 years ago, And now the players understand better what it means, nationalism. Because we could not get grounds to prepare before, and they say, Coach, what you're talking about nationalism and country, when in our own country we have no facilities, we have to go to Trinidad to train. That has started to change, and now we can engender from them a greater sense of national spirit that, hey, this is our country.
In terms of geography, Guyana belongs to South America. But with regard to football, the country is part of the North Central American and Caribbean Confederation. In recent years, internal political wrangling has beset Guyana, and these problems have naturally affected football. This means resources are scarce for the sport, especially as cricket gets the lion's share of attention.
Facilities is a great drawback, but I think we've shown to these guys where we lack in facilities, we must make up with our attitude. If David did not slew Goliath, then we would have no hope. But the fact that story is there in the Bible and recorded, it shows that people with smaller means and more limited resources do not have to be deterred in terms of achieving, greatness.
President of the Guyana Football Federation, Colin Class, is of the view that although the GFF is the governing body for football in Guyana, the development of the sport requires a national effort and input from government and both public and private sectors. It's generally recognised that Guyana's football has outstanding potential and that once national support is provided, the team would be capable of delivering the goods.
There's a clear signal that that support is becoming, realistic. A number of companies has come out boldly and done what we were asking for some time. So I would want to say it's better late than never. It's a good start, and I think we will need all the support going to the next round because, as you know, football is not as cheap as people feel. In order for you to really make it to the top, you have to put the investment in now.
Throughout 2005 and 2006, the Guyanese went 14 games without defeat, and it propelled them an astonishing 95 places up the world ranking. Even though that lengthy unbeaten run came to an end in January 2007, it's hard to ignore the kind of transformation Guyana had experienced. The high point came when they reached the finals of the Caribbean Cup in 2006, missing the semis on goal difference. That cold statistic was compounded as the Jaguars also missed out on competing in their first ever CONCACAF Gold Cup.
Very few of us have been exposed to the next level in Europe, and in the top situations in South America. But I think what they smelled in the Caribbean Cup tournament 2 years ago and the kind of infectious way the country is behind the team, I think they feel now a greater sense of urgency to push themselves towards going further in this FIFA tournament because they like when the rankings come that they see us go up.
What about the players? Meet the Newton brothers. Their father was born in Guyana, but moved to England in the 1970s. Jake and Howard play semi-professional football for Staines Town FC in England's 7th tier. And while they were in Guyana, they took time out to meet family and friends and take a look around. But how did the brothers come to represent Guyana?
A couple of months ago, a friend of mine got in contact. He's like Guyanese descent as well. He plays semi-pro like me and my brother. And yeah, he said there's a scout in England that's looking for Guyanese players to go on trial. So anyway, he met with this scout. His name's Ivan Passard. Had a meeting with him. He told us basically what it's about, that there's an opportunity. They're looking for like overseas players. So he said like if you're interested, then there's got a couple of games coming up against Cuba. If you want to come along and just see how it is, it's up to you. So within a couple of weeks of that meeting, we was on the flight coming out here. Really proud to like represent like a country, my dad's country, and like half my family's country. So it's definitely like one of the proudest moments, like with the national anthem playing, and like to play international football is a dream for any football player. So for that to come true is just, yeah, it's an amazing feeling, really.
The current Guyana national squad has a number of members who play professionally. 12 currently ply their trade in the Trinidad and Tobago top flight, while a handful still line up in the amateur domestic leagues in the USA and Canada. These players will be making football history for Guyana if they reach the next stage of the World Cup qualifiers.
We get into that group of 4, it propels the team to a different level. Okay, so I would say we would look first to that stage. After that, the mindset of the people, I've seen the Trinidad team transform, I've seen the Jamaica team transform. I was part of those 2 experiences where players move from here to here, where officials move from here to here, and then the sky is the limit. But first, I can only look as far as my football knows. Your football nose only permits you to look to the next game. And the next game is the game against Surinam, and we look only to this game.
11,000 fans turned up at the Providence Cricket Stadium to see if the Jaguars could turn around the 1-0 defeat from the first leg against neighbours Surinam. It was the first time the new arena, built for last year's Cricket World Cup, had been given over to the nation's footballers. The Newton brothers were spectators themselves in the first half. They'd have to wait for their opportunity, but it was Surinam that opened the scoring in the 11th minute. A free kick beat the Guyanese wall, struck the upright and deflected into the path of Jermaine Van Dijk. "25 minutes later, the visitors increased their lead when Romano Sordon worked the ball down the right. His shot deflected off the keeper and was finished off by Clifton Sandflit. 2-0 to Surinam. Howard Newton's introduction injected new life into the Jaguars, and they were finally rewarded for their efforts. Nigel Condrington with the overhead kick in the 84th minute. This sent the crowd into a frenzy, and the team readily responded. But they failed to score again. History would not be made today.
In the first half, they gave us a lot of room to bring the ball, but we didn't capitalize on that. You know, all in all, you know, I've got to give credit to them. But I thought in the last 15 minutes, we really played like Jaguars, you know, but a little bit too little, too late.
Guyana will now have to wait another 4 years to see if they can do better. As for Surinam, they'd tamed the Golden Jaguars to reach the group stage of the FIFA 2010 World Cup qualifying tournament. And we'll catch up with them in next week's show.